Welcome back to Finnegan's Garage. Today we're working on the green Hornet, and we're going to make big progress. We're not going to finish the thing, but we're going to make progress on it. We're going to replace the horrible exhaust manifold with a tubular header from Clifford Performance. Then we're going to replace the world's worst intake manifold with one that's only marginally better. And why are we doing all of this? We're doing all of this because ultimately we're going to spray this motor with nitrous, and although Jacob doesn't care if we blow it up, I'd rather just make it fast. So we're going to put O2 bungs in every primary tube of the new header so that we can take that O2 sensor that we installed a couple episodes ago and move it around from pipe to pipe. Ultimately, we're going to figure out how each cylinder is running in relation to the other ones. That way we can tune off of whatever one is leanest. When we do the nitrous install, we'll install a direct port fogger system so that we can jet each cylinder individually. So if we've got one on the outside that's running at 15 to 1 and one in the middle that's running at 10 to 1, we're not using the same nitrous jetting for both cylinders. We'll stagger it so we can get everything even and keep everything from exploding, hopefully. What do you think of this spot?
It's a very exclusive spot. We're supposed to talk about the sign. There are no signs. That's the good thing.
No real identifying marks.
Yeah, you can't tell. There's pine trees and asphalt and pine needles on the ground. Good luck.
Someone's been doing burnouts here.
We don't know who that would be.
It's weird.
Not the Hornet, that's for sure.
What I like about this spot is one of my friends is actually looking at one of these lots right here, and I'm like, dude, yeah, buy something right there. Because I'm just going to do burnouts in front of your house like every damn day.
I'm sure I love that, though. Free entertainment.
All right, speaking of burnouts, let's see what the green Hornet's got, because that's really the test for any automobile. Will it smoke one of the back tires?
You're going to be highly disappointed, I assure you. Well, it's not going to do a burnout, especially with those big old tires on it. There's no chance.
Big old tires. Give it a shot, because we need a starting point. We know how slow she is in the quarter mile. Will she at least do a burnout? If not, we'll start throwing parts at her.
How hard do you want me to try? Do you want me to do a neutral drop and break my transmission?
No.
Just rev it up and see what it does.
No, foot brake it.
All right, we'll see what it does.
Put it in first gear, foot on the brake, go for the cookie. It's going to be amazing. Will this be a right wheel peel? Okay, you're done. I think it needs more cowbell.
A little more, for sure. But listen to it.
Don't. You're embarrassing yourself. Let's just go work on the car.
All right.
It's falling apart?
No, I mean, I should have noticed that at some point, probably, but I never accidentally bumped into that piece while I was working on the car.
You've only owned the car for, what, a year?
Yeah, that's supposed to do that. It allows for the travel in the steering, because that's supposed to be there.
That's for when you jump it.
All right. Now, whether the exhaust will come out like it's supposed to.
There we go. That looks nice.
Now it's got to go back. I might have to get under the car.
This is step one to doing burnouts. Delete the entire exhaust off of the automobile.
Ow. That hurt really bad. Just stuck my knee right into a screw sticking to the floor.
Ooh, hope you got a tetanus shot, Broham. She's a little rusty.
It doesn't want to come out.
Okay.
That will break.
Hey, why don't you point that thing?
Huh?
Nothing.
You want to wiggle that back and forth? What is that?
I'm holding the camera.
pushing it one way. Wiggle it back and forth.
I thought I was trying to break it in half. What do you want me to do?
It's already broken. It just needs to wiggle now.
Oh, okay. Oh, really?
Yeah, that's it up.
Maybe you need more saw.
It's like literally like a millimeter of metal. There's some big old hole in this exhaust.
This is why it sounds like.
So this is the key to burnouts, huh? Trying to rip hot exhaust off a car.
You wondered why I used my feet. That sounds promising.
That hurt.
Yeah, look at that. That's not helping. Big old hole right next to the tip.
Ah, yeah.
That's no good.
It's for that dynamic airflow that you look for in a really good exhaust system.
That's probably what stopped it from doing burnouts.
Yeah, I'm sure.
What do you think an inline 6 with no pipe on it sounds like?
I'm gonna assume bad. I'm sure your neighbors are gonna love it. It's gonna be atrocious.
Hey, do it.
I mean, it's not horrible. It sounds more like a tractor.
It really didn't get much louder. But rev it.
It's a race car.
Oh, dude, she sounds like a race car. Alright, let's go to the top secret spot and see if she'll do a Brody.
Alrighty.
Well, we're back to what would have been the scene of the crime had a burnout occurred, and now we have the inline 6, the green Hornet, and no exhaust system.
And it sounds really bad.
It does. I'm not going to argue with you. It sounds horrible. So let's try again.
Let's just make some noise. No smoke.
Yeah, I'm going to get on this side for the startup because that's where the full open exhaust system is. There's a manifold on there. I mean, we're not total savages. Alright. This is me being optimistic. I'm going to get on this side just in case the tire turns. I don't think it's going to, though.
Ready?
Hit it! Okay. We need actual speed parts.
You mean that doesn't actually make it far faster?
It's crazy, but no, it doesn't. Taking the exhaust system off.
What? Who knew?
Not an upgrade. Plot thickens. Here's our new and our old intake manifold. The one in the front, the foreground, that's the old one. That's the one that bolted directly to the exhaust and had a 1-barrel carb sitting on top of it. It's made out of cast iron. It's very heavy. The new to Jacob manifold, there's an adapter up there for a 2-barrel carb. We should do some math and get out some calipers, because I'm thinking this is not actually that much more.
It might not even be more at all.
It might not be more than that. But it is aluminum, it is lighter. It's interesting. It's got a porcupine built into the bottom of it. It has a wire, as if that's a heating element, maybe to keep the fuel from puddling when you first fire it up or something. That's interesting. And then this one, grab it and flip it over for me, Jake. This one was actually connected to the exhaust, and the exhaust had a valve in it that actually directed hot air up against the bottom of this to heat the bottom of the intake manifold and keep the fuel allegedly in suspension. And I dropped out of physics class after 3 weeks in college, so don't rely on me to explain how that works, but
Witchcraft.
yeah, witchcraft, sorcery,
All those things.
and this also has coolant plumbed through it. There's a water
there's a
jacket
water
in there. But at the end of the day,
Oh, it's bad.
let's let's get this one out of here. At the end of the day,
it's junk. We're getting rid of it.
let's examine what's happening here. We are asking air and fuel to come out of the carburetor here, turn 90 degrees this way, and then pick a runner. There's one right here you can make an immediate 90 degree turn to, or there's a couple down here you can make a 90 degree turn to. And what I'm wondering is, what makes the fuel want to go here versus here? I mean, this is bad. We're gonna end up putting O2 sensor bungs in every primary tube and driving it around and figuring out which is the leanest cylinder and how these things are running at idle, part throttle, and wide open throttle. Because I don't want to stick nitrous on this not knowing that.
Oh yeah.
And then,
It would definitely melt one.
you know, tuning off the collector and finding out that, you know, hey, this is 15 to 1 and this is 10 to 1, you know? That would be bad news. But we will put this on here because it does save a little bit of weight. So, that is a performance mod. Yay! That's a crazy manifold. So you realize that the center ports, it shares one port right there. It's not even divided.
It's bizarre.
And so imagine that it comes out of the cylinder head directly into, hey, let's make a 45 degree turn and run right into the exhaust flow of everything else that's just merging right here.
And then make another turn. So you're really almost making a 90. And then coming out the collector.
Yeah. So like, all of these, they all just have to run into a wall out of the cylinder head. And look at the difference in length. Like number one that's probably 10 inches long. And, you know, number two is there. These two share a port. I mean, it's
Pure
maybe
genius.
not worst case scenario,
works.
but pretty bad.
It works.
So,
It doesn't work
so we're going to
for
this.
performance.
Tubular header. Where'd you get this?
Clifford Performance.
Oh, right on.
It's way too expensive for what it is.
What does it cost?
I think it was like 400 and something bucks.
$400?
Stupid money. But it's the only one that'll fit the car.
Oh my god.
You might be able to get other headers to fit on a like a Jeep for a 258, but an AMC Hornet, this is pretty much the only one you have.
Yeah, but for $400. My god.
I think it's just because it's a really small, like privately owned business, and so they overcharge for everything.
Yeah.
And plus, there's not that many people making stuff for 258.
And I didn't pay that much attention to it, but there's nothing bolting that port.
Well,
Or what is this, like a half a bolt hole?
yeah, that's exactly what these are.
Oh, so half a bolt hole.
Because it shares with the intake manifold.
That's lovely.
That's part of the reason I had to buy that other aluminum manifold, is for the flange to match.
That is lovely. Alright. Well, they're not equal length, but they're pretty close, and it's much better than that other manifold. And it's lighter. And you'll notice we've gone to the trouble of putting O2 bungs in every primary tube.
Now we just gotta hope all the stuff we've done to these two things is gonna jive together in the car.
What's gonna blow is this dual outlet exhaust thing that we're gonna have to snake
Well, I have a Y pipe.
that connects two of them.
Literally, it's like this big too.
It's a Y pipe that makes a 180 degree turn, and
Well, no, you're just gonna have to have a Y pipe somewhere in there.
oh, alright, we'll figure that out. Okay. There's the new header.
Garbage.
There's the old crappy manifold. It's welded together. This is temporary, so I don't think we need to really bother touching up the barbecue black paint that's on this thing.
I bought paint just in case. I don't know why.
And I'm not making fun of the barbecue black, because this is actually a good thing. I never hooked my ground clamp once to this header the entire time I was welding it. The ground clamp was on the table, and the paint is so thin that just sliding the header around
Really?
scratched it enough to create a ground.
High quality.
Yeah, see that?
$400 worth of high quality.
$400. Thanks, Clifford. Hey. But if there's nothing else out there, and
Yeah.
this works, totally worth $400.
Yep.
So, I'm saying we'll stick it in number one. I don't know if that's number 1 or number 6, but we'll stick it in the furthest one away from the firewall, which has the longest primary tube. We'll see what happens. The rest of them we will plug using anti-seize on the threads, because if you don't do this, you might never get this back apart. And if you notice, and you buy aftermarket O2 sensors these days from like Fast or any of the other good companies, those O2 sensors come with anti-seize on them.
Look at that. So that's the manifold gasket. That's the intake gasket. That's so interesting.
Gasket on top of gasket.
Double layered. Extra protection. It's like wearing 2 condoms, I guess.
Well, you aren't going to get pregnant in this car anyway.
Alright. Let's install this thing. Can't wait to feel all the horsepowers. Let's play a game called Spot the Exhaust Port. I'm gonna go with the one that's dry in between the 3 that are wet from, well, probably valve stem seals. That's a lot of oil there.
Seems going to be like new after I changed those though.
That's it.
So there's no actual holes in this gasket that a bolt goes through like you normally have like in that gasket. There's just the holes for the alignment pins, and the rest is just kind of a semicircle that the bolt goes through, and then the manifold's all that's pinching the gasket.
So pretty much the intake manifold has to use the force to align that gasket.
Yes.
I'm cool with that.
That's what it sounds like. I've never done this before, so bear with me.
It's aluminum, so it should be lighter than the last one.
It's much lighter.
But then you have a bigger carburetor adding weight back on, so...
Yes, I'm sure it is the exact same weight
Hope you've
after everything we've done.
been working out.
I haven't. I don't work out. I don't have time for that.
Okay, your linkage is stuck down there. Hold on. You got it.
Tricky. Now what's pushing it?
Ooh.
Oh.
Quick, get some bolts in.
I think the washers are too small. We'll find out.
That's some...
That is weird.
It's some hokey ass shit that this is all that's holding
Clamp.
the intake.
Just clamping it on.
Gasket lines up good though. It's impressive.
So I had a nice trail coming into your garage.
How are we doing?
Well, while you've been doing your podcast, I've been in here trying to get this thing finished up. So, got the last header bolt in. That was a pain yesterday.
Nice.
Put all the vacuum caps on for all the vacuum lines we're not going to need. Kind of hooked up the throttle linkage. We still got to set this part that attaches to the carburetor.
That worked out pretty good. So this bracket you just rebent, used the spacers that we found here.
Yeah, I made a little block off plate where the EGR used to go.
And this is what, the kickdown for the trans?
No, that's throttle. Kick down
this is the
that
throttle.
weird arm right there.
Oh, I see. Okay, so throttle linkage there. So we just have to shorten this arm then, huh?
Yeah, shorten it and turn that in 90 degrees.
It's not adjustable, so we should have to cut it, rotate it, weld it back together.
Exactly.
Okay. And then, are you hooking up heater hoses to this?
Probably not initially, but
Okay.
I might in the coming few days.
Alright.
As do the valve seals so we don't detonate the motor immediately.
Alright, so we need exhaust and hook up the O2 sensor And what was the fitting you're missing? Is it for the fuel line?
It's that guy right there. Well, he's not in there right now, but we don't even need.
Part of the Green Hornet power package is to upgrade the exhaust. So we're going to install a new header that actually dumps into 2 collectors, which is kind of weird, but it actually fits this car remarkably. It's tight packaging down there, but it actually works. And we're going to take those 2 individual collectors, bolt these flanges to them, and then weld them to this Y adapter here. And we'll come out of that into one 2.5-inch pipe that, this is up to Jake. It's either going to go right out the side of the car up front and be obnoxiously loud, or it's going to go all the way to the back with a bullet muffler and be only slightly obnoxiously loud. Either way, it's a straight 6. It ain't going to sound good.
Just finished doing a little more work to the Green Hornet this weekend, and we finally got it back together. It's running reasonably well, and I drove it to a local car show yesterday in Tucker, Georgia, where it did pretty good, other than the exhaust trying to fall off. But I got that sorted, and it's no big deal. But let me show you what we've done. Underneath the hood, we have the brand new Carter 2-barrel hooked to an aluminum intake manifold off of a Jeep, with the throttle linkage bracket off of the original intake that I somehow made work with this carburetor and intake. But anyway, then we have the Clifford Performance header hooked to a Y pipe with an O2 bung welded in it, which then exits out the side of the car through a side pipe. I don't know why, but we had to add a lot of style and a whole lot of noise. But let's let y'all hear it. So as you can see, it still fires right up. So we haven't quite ruined the Hornet yet, but it sounds ridiculous. And it's obnoxiously loud on the highway. But you'll just have to tune into the next episode of Finnegan's Garage concerning the Green Hornet, where we tune the car by putting an O2 sensor in each individual runner of the exhaust. Should be interesting.
Today I uploaded a video and I forgot that step, and so it just went live, and later on I went back and looked at it, and it's just this random photo of a cylinder head. Like,
It works
hey,
though.
Whatever, it's up there, I can't change it now.
Yeah.